Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Hello out there. Thank you for joining. As you're coming in, please don't forget to share. Reverend Rosalind, you're the first person today. Thank you for joining. Hello, Gift. Good evening. Thank you. As you're coming in, guys, it's Saturday today, so there'll be many people at home or getting ready to go out. So please do the honors and share. But don't just share. Also, why don't you invite them to join you? And invite them, send them a note on Facebook and say, this is going to be great. Let's hear what these ladies are saying today. So guys, please do the honors and share. Also guys, when we do reflections or maybe attributes, and even so, Dr. Sunday's program now, you can call in. So guys, do the honors as well. Take down Julie Ngoya's messenger and just click on it and call us to share your opinion on this reflection today. Don't forget also, you can write your comments down in the comment section. So I hope that you will join us today and engage with us. It's Saturday, everyone is relaxed, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be as proactive as possible or engaging as possible. Please do so. Hello, Paul. How are you? Thank you for joining. There's so many things I need to remind you guys today. First of all, we have Dr. Sunday's teachings available on Telegram and on SoundCloud. So you can get them in audio. The files are much smaller now. For people who have data challenges, they can record, or should I say download in audio. So go to SoundCloud or go to Telegram. Hello, Vivian. How are you? Thank you for joining. Guys, how are you today? How is your Saturday going? I hope it's going well. This Saturday today, it's been great. Hello, Anu. Thank you very much for joining. So guys, share, please. I haven't seen the notification that anyone has shared yet. So if you haven't already shared, please share. And also invite your friends and family. Ngozi, good evening. Thank you for joining. Also, guys, as you know, 9 p.m. program now, you can call in. Dr. Sunday opened the floor yesterday. We spent 3 hours in that program yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. And if you want to call in, you can call in on Movement Against Deception page, group page, and it's called MADIC.
No, it's actually profile.
The profile?
Yeah.
Okay, Julie will tell you now.
Yes, so you can call in through the Facebook page, the profile page called MADIC, Move Agents MADIC, Move Agents MADIC. So you can add us through that profile, and then you'll be able to call in, and we will have you live on board, and you can share what you've learned, and it will be really, really great if you can tell us what these teachings are doing to you and how you are learning from them, and what you think and what are the changes that you've been making. It's almost like we're doing right now in the reflections, but this is going to be live, and it is going to help Dr. Sunday also understand where you are, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how much of an effect his teachings have on you. So please call us, and make sure to always message us beforehand. So don't just call in, especially when there is a call going on, so that we don't interrupt the conversation. But make sure to write us, and then you will be put into the queue so that you'll be called back as soon as it's your turn.
Okay, guys, that's really important what Julia just said. With Messenger, if you're calling and somebody else is on the line, it interrupts the call. So it may cut them off just to let you in, especially if you're persistent. So to get on the queue of the call, you just write a note to say, I want to contribute live, and we will call you back immediately. The line is free. You'll be on the queue, as Julia said. So today, feel free to call, let us know if you want to call. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to accept everyone's call because many people have been would call, but the sooner you call, the better. So we will accept as many as we can. So guys, again, I just want to remind you, Dr. Sunday's teaching is now available on SoundCloud and Telegram. So go onto those two platforms, register so you can download all his teachings. And you know, when you download his teachings, also feel free to cut them, especially parts that you like, cut them and send them in your WhatsApp, or you can send the full version. Again, it's data generous, I should say, or it's not data heavy, so it's not going to take too much data, and it won't be too slow to transfer to different people and send to your friends and family. Do the honors every time. Please share this good news and liberation that we've been learning for the past few months, even actually I could say for the past year, if you've been part of the family for since Dr. Sunday started in 2016. Guys, also, I must remind you, YouTube is still there. Don't let us neglect YouTube. YouTube has been our friend for a long time and is still our friend. So go to Sunday Adelaja Official on YouTube. And once you type his name, you would see him in a picture where he's wearing a blue suit and a green shirt and bow tie. Click on that picture, you get to his homepage. From his homepage alone, you will see a lot of playlists. And if you're looking for a specific playlist or title, you can scroll until you find them. Scroll to the left, or maybe it's to actually scroll to the right, and you will find it. Just play around with YouTube. That channel has got over 2,000 titles, and it's got several playlists. You will not you can't go there without you finding something that would help you, that will help to increase your life, increase your relationship. You will find something. So just go and check it out yourself. I can't say enough about it. So I would like if you would just go and check it out yourself. You will find even information that I probably don't know. Again, I would like to thank you for joining us. So let me see some people that I haven't thanked yet or I haven't acknowledged yet. Tatiana, good evening. Hello, Tad. How are you? Hello. I hope you're good. Patty, how are you? Good evening. Who else do we have? Anu, thank you very much again for joining. Rowena, good evening. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Plutonic, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all that you've shared. I appreciate it. Please share from time to time as we're talking. Even when I don't remind you, please feel free to share. Right, today, our reflection today is on the power and force of truth. And the particular title that we will be discussing with you today is the one that I find the most interesting. And I'll tell you why, because there's a vocabulary in there that I don't use and I don't know anything of, and I just found out. Well, if you're like me, I always say this, this vocabulary is called non-truth. And not until Dr. Sunday taught it a few weeks ago. Believe me, I don't know anything about non-truth. All I know is lie and truth. And if it's not true, it's a lie. So the part where it's non-truth, I was totally ignorant of that. Totally. Or ignorant of that. So guys, we're going to discuss it today. Please share your opinion. You can call us as well. Share your opinion in the comment section, what you know about non-truth, what non-truth means to you. How did you feel when Dr. Sunday was teaching this? Was it clear to you, or do you need more clarification? Or, this is what has happened to you since you've listened to that series on non-truth. So that series was truth, non-truth, and lies. Okay? So I'll just do a quick recap on the series on this series, The Power and Force of Truth. This started on I believe it was 10th of July, 2017 to the 20th of August. Dr. Sunday did 45 titles in all. So 45 titles, and it's series number 34. So when you go on YouTube and you want to listen to this specific series, you go to series number 34, and it has 45 titles. So it's quite a long one, okay? And it's more than an hour, so an average of 2 hours. So calculate that of 45. So that's all over 80 hours, 90 hours of teachings. So it's really worth you going and checking. The foundation of this truth series were the 5 levels of truth. We've discussed that extensively. This is the 9th time or the 9th day that we're going to discuss the power and force of truth, because there's so much to it, and it's very pivotal to our well-being, to our lives, to our development, to our goals, to our purpose, to our relationship. Name it. Truth is our foundation, is what makes us who we are today. So let's start. Julie, I feel like I've been talking for like 10 minutes non-stop. So please take the floor right now, please.
Yeah, so we are talking about non-truth, everyone. And it's a very subtle thing, actually. To me, when I think about non-truth, I always think about a snake somehow. It made me feel like, it reminded me of the sin, the first sin that Adam and Eve made because of the snake, because she was I'm saying she to the snake, but in German
is a snake she?
Yeah, in German.
Why is the snake she? Oh my God. Oh my God. This is another topic. We will discuss this later, Julie. The snake is a she.
The snake.
What makes you think it's a she?
German. I don't know. It's just the article in front of it. So,
guys, the snake is not she. It could be a man or a woman. We don't know. Okay.
Anyway, the snake was the one who used truth to manipulate.
Truth or non-truth.
Who actually used truth, but manipulated that truth to make Adam and Eve sin. And the way the snake did it was because the snake put some doubt into what was truth. And this somehow, what's the word? It fogged or clouded the truth, and made it sound like truth, but it wasn't. And that's what I connect with non-truth. To me, non-truth is really something that looks like truth, but isn't. Because what the snake was asking is, did God really say? And you trying to think, was that so? Was that not so? You're starting to be confused, and you're starting to question truth. And just because it may sound similar or as much as truth, I don't know if it makes sense, but to me, this is how I connect it. For me, non-truth is something that looks like truth, that makes you somehow question truth, or makes you feel like you are listening to the truth, but it isn't.
Okay, that's interesting. First of all, they say it's a she, but I'll put that aside for a minute or for today, because that could be a whole program on its own. But in terms of non-truth, this is one thing that I remembered from Dr. Sunday, and actually that synced into my head immediately, was that it was easy to detect truth in itself. You have to just research, find out, is this true, test it. Is it universal? Is it objective? Is it all this ways? There's so many ways that you can detect the truth. So that is not there's nothing covering us with the truth. It's clear. And lies, obviously, also, if somebody is telling a lie, doing your investigation, questioning, testing it, you will find out that it is a lie. But this non-truth, that's where the challenge starts. And he gave several examples of that. And before I arrived at understanding this, it took me a while, because I thought in non-truth, just like Julie just said now, that it's almost like a vehicle to mask a lie. But it could be to not just mask a lie, it could also be ignorance. And I think that's the biggest part of it, where the person, what made this sink in my head was when Dr. Sunday was talking about certain things and saying that is just like Julie explained now with the Adam and Eve and in the garden, and the snake coming and saying that, you shouldn't eat the apple. Why shouldn't you eat the apple? Why did you leave the apple? And things like that. It's putting elements of things that are facts, that are there in your face, and then kind of turning it around to make a rule, to make it like a rule out of it, or this is the way things are. And I think maybe tradition is an easier concept for me to think about truth or non-truth. We're talking about all three, but our emphasis right now is on non-truth. Tradition, I think, is one of those things as well that are usually non-truth, but we take them as the truth in many cases. And I remember the example that I was talking when Dr. Sunday really got it out of me, that they actually got it out of all of us to understand exactly what non-truth was or how to detect non-truth. You know, my example was my mother or my family always tell me that as a woman, you'll be complete after you've completed your education. Then from completing your education, you have your own things, you know, and then get married and have children. That's what makes you a whole as a woman. That's what makes you a woman. But yes, those things are nice. They are good if you're prepared for it, if you're equipped to have them. But it's not true. It's a non-true. It's not a lie. It's a non-truth. If I don't have what it takes if I don't have, number one, if I don't have what it takes. Number two, if it doesn't make me less of a woman, even if I don't have those things. You know, it's not my purpose. It's not my goal. It shouldn't have to be something that I hold on to in life. It's not. It shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to determine or who I am. You know, those things shouldn't have to determine who I am. So not having those things does not make me less of a woman. But you would have been told traditionally, you know, especially if you're at a certain age, that you know, if you've not done this, if you haven't achieved these things or this or that, it means that you're not truly something, and that's non-truth. He also gave an example about homosexuals, that's just one part of them. That's just them being, you know, their sexual orientation, and people will call them all sorts of names. So does that mean that that's who they are? Again, that is a non-truth. There were several examples of non-truth, and it became clearer to me that not understanding non-truth and always saying that everything is black and white, which is how I used to think, that it's either it's true or it's not true. You know, which one is it? There's no middle. And if you don't understand non-truth and you're not careful in analyzing any subject or any issue or any information to detect the non-truth, you will possibly be putting that information in the wrong box. So it could go in the box of a lie and it could go into the box of truth. But most of the time, it could possibly also be non-truth. So that was really, really challenging for me. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So if you watch this series, or you've seen this series one way or the other, or you even understand what we're trying to say, please leave a comment so that we know what your thoughts are, what you're thinking, and let's engage on this conversation.
Yeah, we actually have a few comments here, and I see that we can't see them on our main camera here right now, but we can see them on our secondary camera. And we have a few comments here. And the first one is from Olukayode, who is saying, non-truth is a lie yet to be verified or detected. We should always confirm the information we are fed with, either by speech, books, or any other medium.
Interesting.
Okay. So non-truth is a lie that yet to be verified or detected.
Well, you know, Dr. Sunday didn't actually say it's a lie, because if it's a lie, it's a lie. It goes into the lie box. You know, so there's a lie box. So there are three boxes you have to deal with. Not that it wasn't hard enough having to deal with two, true or lies, right? Truth or lies. Now there's another one, which is non-truth, that you have to put things in and know what they are. And non-truth is being identified as one of the biggest dangers, because, you know, it's just like, for example, with churches and some of the issues that Dr. Sunday has been dealing with over the last few months. You know, all those things are written in the Bible. Like, for example, we joke about this in their house a lot. You know, when maybe somebody asked me if I'm going to church. I think we started last week. Somebody asked me if I was going to church, and I said, no, I'm not going to church. I don't want to go to church. And then they said, don't forget the assemble, you know, of the brethren. And then I think Julie would say, no, assembling. You know, and even that person does know as well. It's not that the person didn't know that it was assembling, but we've all been boxed into a non-truth by believing that is the truth, not to forsake and even using the wrong words, which is not the words that were used, assemble rather than assembling. Usually they use the assemble of the brethren. But even if they use assemble or assembling, that is not the context of us having to go to church. It's so that you don't forsake each other, not to be alone, and not being alone and being part of Christ or being part of the kingdom mindset is not just for churches building alone. You should be that way every minute, every time in your life, not just on Sundays or midweek service. So this is another non-truth. So for me, I think it's not necessarily, my understanding now is that it's not necessarily that it's a lie. It's just that it's been treated as a truth, even though it is not a lie.
Yeah, we can probably also talk about an example, I guess.
Okay.
Because I know that Dr. Sunday was giving us some questions or examples about if for instance, he said prophet offering, truth or non-truth, or first fruit offering, is it truth or non-truth, or tithing and offering, is it truth or non-truth? And I think the issue here was that the understanding wasn't there, and the understanding of those commands, if you can say that, are that in the old right now we have been using tithe and offering in most African churches to enrich pastors and bishops and all of these things. So yes, we should pay tithes and offering, but the way it is being conducted is probably not right. That's not the truth. It's not the way it's supposed to be. And the way it's supposed to be is that we're supposed to help the needy, and we're supposed to help use the tithes and offering for the weightier matters of the Lord. So it is not wrong, or it is not a lie to pay tithes and offering, but the way it is being done is the piece that makes it a non-truth.
Yes, let's take the tithe and offering, as Julie have mentioned now. I think with the tithe and offering, that's one of the biggest things, especially in the church, where it says you should bring into the storehouse, and this has been taken as, just bring it to church and use it, and pastor will be the person, or the church committee will be the person that decides what happens with it. So the responsibility of it will be taken from you. As soon as you get your money, make sure it comes straight to the church. And that's what the Lord says in the Bible. That is a non-truth. And even the way that the Lord has said it, or how it is in the Bible, is that you take 10% of your income, and of that, only 10% of that 10% goes to the priest, whereas the rest will be used to help the needy and all that. And he didn't say that it has to be a portion by the priest himself. So it could be you that do it, So if you must even pay your tithes and you want to give your pastor something or the church something, you can. It's not that we're saying that don't pay your tithes, but the responsibility is still on you to help the needy. The people that God said that I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I had no clothes, you didn't clothe me, or, however it goes in the scripture. We have to take our responsibility as well. And we're not taking that responsibility. We're just listening to the part where it says 10%. And as soon as we hear that 10%, it's just almost like a robot. I also think that the non-truth, truth, and lies really requires from us to do a lot of thinking, a lot of processing, analytical thinking. And a lot of the time we don't in church. It's like, don't just follow what you've been informed or what you've been told by somebody else. So we don't take that responsibility. So it's a lot of responsibility to live a life of truth and to understand non-truth. It's a lot of responsibility on our parts.
Yeah. There's another comment here from Fola Saleh, who is actually asking a question, who says, can you make someone convinced about telling the truth? Well, this is not what we're talking about right now, but
I don't even understand that question, do you?
Oh yeah, I think he's saying that if we can convince someone to say the truth, so possibly not to lie, you want to convince someone to tell the truth. right?
Let's be sure. So
maybe you can elaborate on that, Fola Shele, just so we are
Fola
clear.
Shele, can you please confirm to us what that question is?
Yeah.
Julie thinks is convincing somebody to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can convince, truth about something and maybe somebody's lying and you want to convince the person to tell the truth so that, don't lie about it, tell the truth. I think you should definitely listen to the 5 levels of truth.
Yeah.
Number 1. But just let us be clear on what that question is, because I'm not very clear about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions?
No, we have Vivian who says, many words has been truly stated, but it is not the truth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and this is where the non-truth is hidden. One thing I remember very vividly is that it's easier to detect a lie. Once you ask questions or you check it, cross-reference it, you will find out that this is a lie. Likewise, with truth as well, you'll find out this is true. But with non-truth, it's one of the most challenging ones, because it's almost like going above and beyond for you to find out, is this really true? Does this really make sense? Because there's always elements of truth in it. I think Dr. Sunday also says about smoking, that is smoking a sin, for example. And everybody just automatically said, yes, it's a sin. But is it a greater sin than other sins? Or did he even say that it's a sin? I don't think so. I think it's like, it's not good for your health.
Yes.
But it's not a sin.
Yeah.
It's not good for your body. It's not a sin. So, but we count it as, if you're a smoker, you're a sinner. Whereas we can say, yes, the biggest sin, or the sin that everyone talks about, fornication or adultery, everybody writes that off already as a sin. But they don't say, when they say also smoking is a sin, it's just much as a sin as it is maybe overeating, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to be clear about this non-truth. This non-truth, I think, is the biggest challenge that we have in society.
Yeah. And I think one important thing is also that we have to know truth to be able to define or identify non-truth. Because that's the problem that we actually have. We have the biggest problem in the African churches right now because there's so much non-truth that is being said. But the problem is that it is not being detected because there's just a little percentage, if at all, of people who know truth. And that's why they can't identify or separate non-truth from truth. And that's a big problem because I think you said it in the beginning that ignorance is really the biggest issue that we are dealing with, especially when it comes to church. And that's the problem if we don't know truth. We have to really imbibe ourselves in the truth so that we can be sure and resist non-truth when it shows up. Just like, with Adam and Eve, for instance, and they, if they decide to follow truth, not compromise on it, but also to know it, to be sure to know truth, to be familiar with it in a way that whenever anything other than truth is going to be presented to us, we will be able to identify it and act accordingly.
Okay. Is there any more comments?
Yeah, we have Gift Blessing who's saying, King James Bible, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe and mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Interesting. And I think that's part of it as well, in terms of the weightier matters, that there's some things that are really important to God, but then we pick and choose which one we think are important, especially when it comes to sin. Like certain things are sin, adultery is the biggest sin, whereas the other sins that are common to human are not even spoken about, or they are understood better or forgiven rather better than maybe a sexual sin, which is a matter of the flesh, really. Other sins, maybe keeping malice, backbiting and all sorts of things, those ones are not even considered as a big deal. You just go and say, God, forgive me for that. but even any sexual sin, you almost condemn yourselves. I mean, I know, I've recently heard of people even committing suicide because they fornicate, because of masturbation, because they have believed so much that they're committing this sin and they cannot get out of it, and that God will, they cannot overcome this, so they can't deal with that in their head. And this is one non-truth as well. Yes, that could be, it could be a sin, but it's not a sin that would take you to hell. And this one became such a controversy, where other media outlets were taking it everywhere, saying that Dr. Sunday is talking about fornication not being a sin, or if you fornicate and you die now, then you wouldn't go to heaven. I mean, if you think about it, it is common sense. If I've had a relationship with somebody all my life, and as soon as that person did something to me once, I decided that they're no longer my friend, and the person and I are not talking, and I die, for example, does that mean that person wouldn't love me anymore? Even if we had a fight and we it doesn't stop them. It doesn't take that love away, We might not want to talk. We might never talk again because one of us is gone, but it doesn't mean that, they wouldn't love me in their heart anymore.
Yeah.
So that's one thing also we need to remember about non-truth.
Yeah, thank you for that gift. We have Ulwatuin, hello. Tawanda is saying gluttony.
Yes, that's when you eat too much, when you overeat. So is that also a sin? Of course it's a sin. But we're talking about non-truth here, not just about sin. We're just using examples of sin because it's the easiest one, especially for Christians. This is one of the biggest hindrances of having a relationship with God. And this is one of the biggest things that we use to condemn ourselves as Christians. So this matter is really important for us to understand non-truth. Because again, I would say it again, which is truth is easy to detect once you look for it. It's absolute, it's universal, it's objective.
It's applicable.
It's applicable.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. Anywhere you go. You can test it. There's so many things about truth that you can use. But lies as well, you will find out lies. If it doesn't work, if you use the opposite of the truth, then you can find out lies as well. But with non-truth, which is the biggest danger, it's very difficult. If you don't do a lot of thinking, a lot of you have a good relationship with God as well, so that He can give you the wisdom to analyze this, you might just be condemning yourself and even condemning other people. And I think for me, this is one of the biggest challenge that I have, because I just believe that there's either true or false, lies or truth. So there was no middle in the anywhere. And not understanding that there's that non-truth, that even the person that is telling me the non-truth and saying that that's the truth, that person is also a victim of lack of understanding, or in some cases they're not really a victim, they are just using it to get what they want. But because I myself, I've actually been a perpetrator of non-truth as well, because I believed the non-truth that an authority told me, or somebody that I love, or somebody that I respect told me. I also carried a non-truth to people, and I've actually behaved in an absolute manner to people when they have told me non-truth. I have labeled them as liars, when possibly they're just ignorant of the truth rather than liars. So can you see where this comes in, that we really, really need to educate ourselves and seek the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge that is necessary for us to be able to apply this non-truth. Because if we don't, then we would be probably in error with a lot of things, that our relationship with people as well, and we wouldn't cut people a slack. So I always say, Julie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that, many things, the problems that we also have is that many people don't know that they've been told non-truth. And so they just give it they just give it away. You continue to give what has been given to you, and you can't give something that you don't have. And this is where the piece of responsibility comes in, because at some point we just can't make excuses anymore. Especially, we can take the example of moving out of your home as an example, because at some point you will have to take care of yourself. So you have to. Every one of us.
You mean with young people?
Exactly. If you get out of your parents' home and you start to take care of yourself, there's this point where you will have to now be responsible in research before you do things, before you accept things, before you just pass on what you've been given. So we have to make this a lifestyle, really, because just like I said, there's so many things that we are given, but not because people are malicious. And I think that's where the difference is between truth and non-truth and lies. Because when someone lies to you, they do it intentionally. They know that they're lying. They know that they're saying something that is not true, because they're aware. There's no ignorance in this place. But
there might be ignorance as well. There might be a lie could be a lie.
Yeah.
Because you could carry a lie believing that it's true. This is not. It's not just only about somebody telling you something and knowing. Sometimes, like, my parents would tell me something like, if you do certain things, that means that you are, especially with children, when you're young, they'll tell you that if you do certain things that something will happen to you, so that you don't do those things. Yes, they know that it's a lie, but there are certain situations where there are traditions. That's why I mentioned tradition as well, that if you eat certain things and one thing and the other is a lie, and they don't know, they've actually carried that too, and that's ignorance. Mm-hmm. But it's not because they even know that they're ignorant, but it's just because they believed an authority, which is one of the things that we discussed. They believed an authority and continue to carry it without doing their own due diligence before they passed it on. But it doesn't stop it from being a lie. That doesn't fall in the non-truth. It's still a lie, but because you didn't do your due diligence, you yourself don't know it's a lie. So I think it comes in different ways. There's a lie that is absolutely a lie. The person that's telling the lie knows that they're telling a lie. But there's also lies that we tell without knowing that it's a lie, because we didn't do our part.
Well, my question would then be, does that not make it a non-truth because there's a lack of knowledge or the lack of understanding?
No, but I don't think so. I don't think it falls into non-truth. I think if it's a lie, it is a lie. Like if somebody says to you that if you drink, when I was a kid, seriously, this one is a true story. I was told that if you take mango and if you eat mango and you drink, I think it's Gary or something, because I love Gary, right? So that if you eat mango and you drink Gary, you're going to die.
What is Gary for those who don't
know? Gary is like I drink Gary. I love Gary, but I'll stop now. Anyway, the Gary is like maybe an African custard, if I can put it that way. It's made with corn, or is it cassava? And you can drink it or you can use it to make eba, if you don't know. Eba is like a solid thing. This is not a food program. I'm just giving you an example when I was a kid. And I was told this all the time, and I believed the people that told me. My brothers, my sisters, my older brothers and sisters, they told me this, and they said that somebody, even my mom said, I think, I'm not sure. This was when I was a little kid, that somebody ate that. Yes, it is, to them, is it true? Because maybe the person did die, but the person died for other reasons. But the last food that the person ate was mango and Gary. And they are carrying that to say that mango and Gary kills people, right? Mm. So they spend all their life telling me this story and believing it for themselves. But that's a lie. It's not non-truth. Mm-hmm. That's a clear lie when they didn't do their investigation. But I think a non-truth would be, maybe this is a non-truth. OMG, guys, I hope you're not getting confused. Yeah, well, that's a lie. I think that's a lie, but they didn't know that it's a lie.
Yeah, but then, okay, we will have to look into the definition of a lie, because in my understanding, a lie is something that you say deliberately, something that is wrong, that is not true, that you say deliberately with a malicious intent. Maybe not to kill someone or whatever, but just,
to get your way.
Exactly, to get your way. It is an egocentric way for you to communicate, let's say. So you do something towards someone or say something towards someone knowing that you're hiding, you're hiding something, and it is for your benefit as opposed to the person's benefit. And the non-truth would be something that would be going into the similar direction, but you would not be aware of the fact that it is a lie, or you would not do it with a malicious intent.
That's interesting, guys. The way I'm feeling right now, right, I feel like I should just go and sit down, lock myself up in somewhere and listen to the old truth series again so that I can understand, especially this part of it now. Because I even listened to it today and I believe that I understand, but even explaining it is just been such a challenge. And I hope that you guys out there as well can make sense of this in the right way and in the way that it is the truth rather than non-truth or a lie.
Yeah.
So we all have the responsibility as well. We have their responsibility to try and know the truth, the lies, and the non-truth. But one thing about that is that I can assure you about non-truth is that it's very much hidden, and the responsibility is required from the individual to try and detect this as a non-truth. Because otherwise you put it in either a lie or a truth box, and you would be misplacing it in the wrong box. So it takes a lot of research, understanding, knowledge, openness to know the truth. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. So I'm still learning. I hope that you guys are learning as well. Any more comments?
Yes, Okolia Amaka is saying, I feel people need their pastors to tell them what the Bible says rather than trying to learn and understand it themselves. And as a result, most people have been brainwashed. So you're saying...
I don't get it. Can you read that again, please?
Okay, so Okolia Amaka is saying, I feel people need their pastors to tell them what the Bible says rather than trying to learn and understand it themselves.
Okay.
So I think
there was no brainwash there.
Yeah, this is the second part, I think, unless it's a comment to what we said. But the first piece is saying that people need to have their pastors tell them the truth about the Bible rather than the people going and learning it for themselves.
Okay, I think I understand what Okoli is saying, that people have a need, not that they should. People have a need that they want the pastors to explain the Bible to them. They don't want to go and understand the Bible themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's why they are misled, and that's why they were brainwashed, because they're not taking responsibility of reading the Bible and understanding themselves. Their need is to sit down and one man or group of people to explain it to them, and that's why they're misled. If that's
so true.
So true. It's true, and it goes for all of us. But the other thing is that because I like to have a balance with this type of conversation, is that yes, people do have that need, but that's because they were told that they shouldn't worry, that those pastors were explained to them. Those pastors it's like, I think a lot of pastors make you dependent on them, that when you first come into the church, they're explaining things to you and you almost go to them for everything. And they even tell you that that's the best way to go. They have a special anointing, they have special this, they have special that. And it's very systematic that you wouldn't even know. So yes, people have that need, but that need was fed to them. It's almost like a drug. It would be fed to you slowly and you become an addict, that you feel like you need that person or that authority to explain something to you, that you can't do it yourself. And this is one of the reasons why I so much respect and love Dr. Sunday and his teachings, is because he tells you what he knows and he shows you where you can find out the truth yourself, so that you don't have to come for him. You don't have to come to him to find out the truth. And this is why I just don't see how that can be fault or in any way be spoken about in the wrong way, because he's telling you that this is how it is. This is what I understand. But don't take my word for it. Let's search together. you also have the power to understand this by going to God directly. You don't have to just take what I'm saying. And you know, I haven't known many people that are pastors or they are leaders that do that. Usually they want you to be dependent on them.
But you know, this already starts at home, though, especially when it comes to Africa and African
I like
culture.
where you're taking this, please.
Because it starts earlier, and that's the problem that we have with our value system in Africa. That once you're a child, you're being told that you have to listen to the person of authority. You have to not question what the person of authority is saying, and that person will change at some point. You know, instead of your parents, who are your main people of authority, your pastor may become the person.
Or even anyone older than you.
Exactly, someone who's older than you. Anyone who seems to have some
leverage over you.
Exactly.
Any leverage. Even if it's not even good leverage.
Yeah, even if it's a friend, anyone who knows a little bit more than you in a specific field or something. You're immediately put into the position of the listener and the learner, and not the questioner or the teacher or the investigator. There's no such thing in our culture, and I think this is where it all is rooted, that we're not cultivating a culture of question and answer, of debating, of having conversations and disagreeing and agreeing to disagree. All of these things, we don't have that in Africa, and that's why this is so prevalent in Africa, as you can, we all witness, and we all know, and we can see. So it has to start at home before, because at home, every pastor has a home too. They also have a home, they have children.
And that's where you get your value system from.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of your time or your life at home with your family, your upbringing, your environment. That's your environment.
Yeah.
And I think, Julie, this is really important. We really need to mention this, because I'm sure out there are parents out there. You have been brought up in the way that we're talking about here now, where you're not encouraged to question anyone that is of authority. I mean, even if your sister is like 1 day older than you, I'm just exaggerating now. They just is older than you. Just take whatever he's saying. It's good to respect each other, regardless if they're older than you. Yeah. But to shush you every time. And even as a woman, I mean, I have a great passion for this where, don't shush me. Let me tell you what I want to say. You say your part as well. But I'm always considered as rebellious, or, I'm a firefighter. And I'm not. All I want to know is to understand what's going on and share my own opinion, what I feel about that. But you're always being suppressed in the wrong environment. So what am I trying to say here is that we are also perpetrators of that. How are we that grew up in that environment? How are we treating our children now? How are we treating the younger people that are around us? Are we telling them to shush, or, it doesn't concern you? When I tell you something, then, take it, obey before you question or something. Yeah. There's one that when I was young, I hear that all the time. Obey before complain. Thank you. Somebody just help me. Obey before complain. If I'm going to obey, I don't even know who coined all this kind of nonsense words. Obey before complain. If I go and obey and it's something that is wrong and I don't complain, to challenge your own thoughts as well, and then a disaster happens, does that make sense at all? And there's still people in Africa right now that still work in this way. There are adults that are living at home that they can't even say anything to their fathers. They cannot say anything to their mothers. They can't say anything to anyone. It's just like, okay. And then to top that up, if you don't have money or you're a poor person, that's it for you. You're done. You're a done deal. They don't even allow you to talk. You yourself wouldn't even feel like you want to talk. So these are all the wrong value system. And I'm glad that Julie mentioned it, that this starts from home. That now that you're believing pastors, you're believing anything that any authority says, that without you even testing their credibility or knowing their credibility, but because they carry the title, if they say they're a prophet. I mean, have you seen some videos where they're like 8-year-old calling themselves prophets and this, and there are hundreds of adults saying yes sir, yes, kada pro. Have you seen those things? I mean, this is because title comes with respect. Either the person is proven or not proven. So this is a challenge in our society. It's not just something that we're talking about so that you can understand this. You have to retrain yourself. You have to recreate yourself for you to have this understanding, for you to be able to use this understanding to build your life, to tailor your life in a way that pleases God and also is pleasant for you to live. Because non-truth is the biggest deal of all. It's a bigger deal even than lies. Because lies, sooner or later you will find out, but non-truth, it's hidden somewhere. You're not even going to, you wouldn't even bother to investigate if it is a non-truth or not.
Yeah. So thank you for that comment, Okulie. This is a really deep thought that you have, and it's a big disease that we have in our society, unfortunately, in Africa and in the churches, really. But yeah, we really have to cultivate to not depend on other people, not depend on pastors or authorities or whoever, to know what we have to know, to understand what we have to understand.
And I know by saying that cultivate it, how do we cultivate this kind of things is also by us making up our minds that we want to know the truth and we want to know where this topic or this subject or this information lies, you know. So again, this, because we've been treated in such a way or trained in such a way where we're conforming to society, or we think that authority is more important than even ourselves, we don't know how to go about this type of things, and our minds have become lazy. You know, it's like, you know, with exercise, if you don't do any exercise, your muscles will be weaker. But if you do exercise, your muscle will be stronger. So this as well, in terms of cultivating it, is asking questions. Don't be lazy in terms of thinking, okay, this person told me I'm just going to leave it, and at the end of the day, it's not going to kill me if I do this. This is the biggest problem, because it might not kill you straight away, but it is slowly building up to killing you. You know, if you don't know the truth, you're not living in truth. And if you're not living in truth, it's danger for you. It's danger for your life. It's danger for your purpose in life. So, you know, dying is not just by dying and going to heaven, not being able to breathe. Dying also is living in a world and not being aware of the truth, or not living in a way that, you know, helps you to know the truth and to be established or rooted in truth. So it is death for me personally if I don't know the truth and I'm living in a way where, you know, I don't know what's going on. But yes, that thing is not hurting me immediately. I can't see the pain in it. It's no reason for me not to find out the truth.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maya was saying that's true. That's what they used to tell us. I think that's when you were telling a story. Adiola is saying, yes, Maya, I was told the same. Gari is made from cassava. Okay.
Oh, thank you. So you were told about gari and mango.
Aisha is saying, yeah, she's saying, or eat banana and eggs, you will die. This is another of those non-truths.
I can't believe it. Eat banana and egg. I mean, like this mango one, you know, I believe it so much that even if I want to drink gari, a week before, I wouldn't even drink gari if I'm going to eat mango. Can you believe that?
Goodness. Maureen is saying, be ye therefore followers of God as dear children, and walk in love as Christ also has loved us, and has given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you, as becometh saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this ye know, that no whom hunger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater, hath an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Okay.
Wow, that's a long one, and I think this is one of the things that if you have to understand this very well for you not to be living in non-truth about it. You know, so it's something that you really need understanding on to treat. It's quite long. I'm not a pastor, so I'm just gonna leave that.
Maybe share your thoughts with us about it, Maureen. Thank you. Aisha is saying true. When you agree or disagree with an adult, you are disrespecting that older person.
Exactly, but that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, even when you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
So when you agree to, I didn't even know that. I actually thought that it's only when you disagree. They just don't respect human beings just because of age. You know, what you say does not matter. But when that age is combined with money, oh, that's another story.
A total different story. Money is really, I mean, the driving force, which it should be. This is not true. This is not true.
When it's combined with lack of money, forget you. You're even like age -0, right? But when it's just your age and you have something of value to them, you still like, okay, don't say anything. You have to be respectful. But when it's combined age and money, lots of money, then you're the big boss, which is like biggest
exception. Yeah,
yes.
It is all self-centeredness. That is what it boils down to. Okolie is saying, thank you. The both of you are very beautiful women. Thank you. Thank you,
Okolie.
Yeah, Tawanda is saying amen. Thank you, Tawanda.
Guys, okay, we're almost at the end of the program today. There's a few things I need to remind you. There are a few things. Honestly, I need to work on I have two people speaking in my head. Mayowa and Mayowa plus. Okay, let me just say a few things to remind you are, number one, we have all Dr. Sunday's teachings on audio, and they're on SoundCloud and Telegram.
Yeah.
So SoundCloud and Telegram, you can download Dr. Sunday's teaching. So sign up to both. They're free of charge. You can download as many as possible. Audios, we've discovered that they are the best for you because they're not data intensive. They are really light on data. So you can share it on WhatsApp. You can share it. You can download you can download as many as you like, and you can listen to it wherever you want. So SoundCloud and Telegram are the two for audios. Although there's some audios on YouTube as well, but it would be heavier. So better to go on SoundCloud and Telegram for that. All free or charge.
Yes.
Okay.
And the same goes for YouTube. All free of charge. Sunday Adelaja Official, where you will find all the series and so much more. This channel is just a gold mine. So please go on Sunday Adelaja Official on YouTube and find all series. Right now we have 35 series and going. Yes, counting. So go to Sunday Adelaja Official and find all the series, and we even have episodes of Ask Dr. Sunday where Dr. Sunday is responding to many questions that we've seen also being asked during broadcasts. So go and check them out. You will have a lot of answers to questions that you may have or even want to still ask. And we will also be back in next week, actually Saturday, where we'll have another episode of Ask Dr. Sunday, where you can also ask your questions if they've not been asked before. So you have a whole array of so much information and a lot of material to build your understanding, to grow in your understanding of God, of yourself, of truth, and of your own calling while you're here on earth. There are also so many things that we don't know, that have never been taught to us. And this is the place to go if you should, and you should. We encourage you to go and acquire all that knowledge.
Sure. And for the Ask Dr. Sunday, you need to go to sundayadelajablog.com, and you will see the Ask. Click on Ask and put your question in there so that we can get your questions from that database. So please do so, sundayadelajablog.com. And on the blog as well, if you're interested in reading, you like to read articles, I think that's probably the best place for you to go. There's so many articles, even some that are not written directly by Dr. Sunday, but they're so interesting. Check it out. It's on his blog. He's got everything on there. Read. I mean, I read about MMM on the blog, and I love it. It was in series at the time, and I just couldn't wait the next day to get the next gist on MMM. Yeah. And there's other things as well on there. You really need to check the blog out, sundayadelajablog.com. Please check it out. And of course, guys, you know Dr. Sunday has written so many books. Most of them were in Russian language, but now, during his birthday alone, he published 50 titles. So you can go to Amazon in order to get that. But if you don't have Amazon, you can get an electronic version from Okada Books. So check out Okada Books as well. and you'll be able to get an electronic version. Well, of course, on Amazon you can get both electronic and a hard copy. So go ahead. There's so many titles. Dr. Sunday's book are such another gold mine that when you read those books, you find so many ideas in these books. And if you're interested in Nigeria, believe me, there's some Nigerian books, Nigerian topic books that he's written that as a Nigerian, I didn't even know anything about Nigeria until I read that book. And you know what it's giving me? It's giving me passion for Nigeria. It's giving me love, pride, respect, and also there's a lot of challenges with Nigeria, but also hope for Nigeria. So go ahead and check them out. Nigeria, the leadership question is a big one for me. Only God can save Nigeria. Absolutely. You need to check it out. It's not true. Okay. I'm saying absolutely that you need to check it out. Not that absolutely that is true, that only God can save Nigeria. But you will find out. It says only God can save Nigeria. What a myth. Get that book. That book is not just for Nigeria. It's actually for individuals. And it's not just about Nigeria. It's a really lovely book. So check that book out as well.
Yeah.
I think, again, I just want to remind you about SoundCloud and Telegram. Those two, SoundCloud and Telegram. You can download all Dr. Sunday's teachings on there. And I am sure that you benefit from it. Send it to your friends and family on WhatsApp. And also, you can cut it. You can actually take parts of it that you want people to listen to and send that part along to people. So download everything and cut them. It's easy. It's pretty easy nowadays to cut audios and even videos as well. There's so many apps out there to do that. So please feel free to do so. Dr. Sunday has given everybody the authority. The freedom, actually. That's a good word. The freedom to take all his teachings and do as you wish with them. So you can actually record them, put them in CDs, put them in any format you want to put them, and sell them, share with people. As long as people are knowing the truth, they're being liberated, they're understanding the relationship with God, they're becoming kingdom-minded, he doesn't mind. Just do as you wish.
Yeah. Maybe we should round this up with the last comments that we have here. We have Adamu who's saying, that is my best food, Gary, when I was in Nigeria. Anyway, thank you for remembering me. Let's go and buy Gary now. The wisest man in this world is the farmer.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you,
That's
Adamu.
A combination, Adamu. You talked about Gary, then you talked about wisest man, and then you talk about agriculture. Oh, that's really interesting.
Very creative.
Yes.
Aisha is saying it's because in Africa most people are poor. Money rules over truth.
That's
so
a shame.
True.
But that's a shame. And we can change that, okay? We can all change that as an individual. Let the truth be our resolve. Without any compromise at all. I think we can all change that.
Yeah. Adam was saying more love to DSA. And he's also saying more grace to you, true, beautiful angels of DSA. Love is the greatest. Let love lead. Amen to that.
Let love lead.
Gives blessing is saying, thank you, Queens, and more grace. Thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight. We will be back in less than 1 hour with our next session, our next program on our checklist. So time to assess yourselves again and decide. Tell yourself the truth. Are you a pagan Christian or are you a disciple? Are you actually a real, true disciple of God, of Jesus Christ? So,
a biblical Christian.
A biblical Christian, yeah. So join us, guys. We'll be back in 56 minutes. And,
we'll see you. Guys, don't forget, if you want to call in, you can. You call Move Agents.
Move Agents.
With an S. Move Agents Matic. So look for it on Facebook, Move Agents Matic. And write a note to say, I want to call in today. And we will put you on the queue. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys. From us, goodbye for now.
See you in a few.
Bye.